Hello. So I just wanted to say, before you get into it, if you're anything like me and you like a long form video that you can settle down with and have a, with no interruptions and blah blah blah, well, this is the one for you. But if this is if you're put off by the hour and 40 something minutes that it takes to watch this thing, then to make it a little more palatable, pardon the pun, considering it's a pallet, it's a, to make it a little bit more palatable, I've split this video up into 3 parts, and you'll find them elsewhere on your channel. But if you like long form, yeah, this one's for you. Right, hiya. Point at that.
And peace.
Well, so then, what making boss today?
A guitar.
Okay.
For me, uncle.
Okay. Right on. We'll have a crack at that then, eh? So, we'll get cracking.
What do you mean by get cracking?
Shall we start?
Yeah, I guess.
Only the other day, I was talking to an old friend. I was typing to an old friend from years back, the UK, Newcastle, Leam Lane, in fact, whatever that means. I don't want to live there, by the way. I like the people and all that and everything, but out there, I'll show you. Up there. That's sunshine, mate. Sunshine. Lots and lots of sunshine. But anyway, Terry Sim is his name, by the way. In case you're watching Terry. And you can verify that we were talking about this. He says, I should make a guitar. And I gave him a million reasons as to why I shouldn't make a guitar. The price of parts and labour alone would be more than I expect most people would be happy to pay. The most prominent one is that you can buy really good guitars for relatively cheap these days, But anyway, so then my son Nick gets in touch with me and says, make me a guitar, Dad, for your next video. So I'm going to do that out of a pallet. This is a semi-hollow based on a Starcaster, and I've got artistic license. So with the help of my granddaughter on occasion, hopefully, we'll get cracking. Oh yeah. Look at that. Piece of metal, like keeping it together. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like, hey. Well, I spent best part of yesterday searching for spec measurements for the guitar, and nothing. It's like a big secret or something. But I managed to find on a forum the width at the fattest part of the guitar, which was 394 millimeters. So that's what we've got, I think I'll put a picture on the TV next door. That is probably what I'm going to copy off there. So hopefully you'll be able to pick up what I'm putting down, if you know what I mean. It seems awfully big, but let me see if you can see what I'm getting at. So now I need to cut this off the top because I want to hollow this bit out and then put a top back on it. I'm going to have to put this blade on my bandsaw to
I was right flying you, baby. You were right flying me. That's his favourite song.
She knows I can't stand Kiss.
I was right flying you, baby. You were right flying me. I've literally got the little star on my face. If you look closely, you can actually see my face is white.
Sure.
I've got the star on my face. If you look closely, you can see my face is kind of white.
Right, you lunatic.
Not even help me get dressed in that.
She says, now help me get dressed like that.
Do
you want to help or what do you want to do?
I want to help you.
I'm not sure that that's got just yet, but like, I want to change the blade on my bandsaw, so...
Is there a way I can help?
Well, you can stand here and pull faces at the camera, I suppose, and entertain people while I change the blade.
Okay. Does this twist?
What?
Oh wait, it's twist. If I just twist it here, this will work.
Go on then.
I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me.
You can't just say that all the time.
No. Did you know that my grandma's pooped his pants?
Well, that's not true. Yeah, kids.
Before I was made for loving you, baby.
I'm an adult.
You
I'm
were
a
made
big
for
boy
loving
now.
me.
You know, it's not. It's not true. And this is going to be loud. Yeah, I did a couple of things offline. I found this lovely piece of wood and I planed it to, I think it's like something like 10 mil or something like that, I can't remember. It's 8 mil, that's good enough. I might have to come down a bit more, but so this is going to be the fretboard. I cleaned up the F-holes, which were really bad. So now I'm going to mark the frets out. I've got my list here of measurements, and I suck at maths, so I need all the help I can get, really. And my grandpa specs. I know, so I did a couple. I thought I was recording, but I obviously wasn't. So. Excuse me. Right, I've had a bit of a break. Not that yous would have been any the wiser if I hadn't just opened my big mouth, but here we are. But anyway, I had a bit of a break for a couple of reasons. You know, I was getting so far done and thinking, oh, I need this before I can do that, and I need this. So I just decided like to try and get everything that I needed offline. By the way, my son bought the majority of the hardware, or all of it in fact. But I needed like I needed tools to help with me the job, you know, like fret files and this and that, and fret press tools. And I got this, which is a 241.3 millimeter radius sanding block, or 9.5 if you want to be a caveman about things. You know what I mean? But you know, and you whack a bit of sandpaper on that, and then you radius your fretboard. I haven't done it yet, by the way. You know, because 241.3 millimeters is the radius for a Stratocaster neck, and we decided that Fender is the best guitar in the world. So I made this jig that this will fit into, and then you put your fretboard in there and you glue it down so it's in the center, you know what I mean? You like double-sided tape it down, and then you do this forever until you get a big massive muscle on your arm, and that doesn't look good. So then you got to get a muscle on that arm, and that's more work, and who wants muscles, you know what I mean? So I decided that I would ditch that idea and ditch this idea. I think I'll probably still use this for like fine touching, and I made this thing, which I probably should turn you around to have a look at. So this is it. So this is the same radius, you know, and this is the bed that it all runs on. And then I made this little thing for me router. It's got a couple of bearings on there, and this sits in here, and the neck and the fingerboard, the fretboard sits in there, centralized, you know. I've got to work all this out, and then you just do this, and everybody's happy, and we don't have silly big muscles in my arms and stuff like that, and everything's cool. And I made this jig. This is for the truss rod, so you know the neck will sit. So I kind of did a bit to the neck. It's still got wood to do, you know, basically a block of wood, and I cut this thing into it, still square and everything. So you put a centre line down there, which is that, and then this has a centre line, and I don't know if you can see up there, but like the line carries on around the corner, and you just sit this on and line up the centre lines, double-sided tape again, so like that, you know what I mean, you can see the centre line down there. And then you just run your router down that, and that cuts out the trough for the truss rod. And this is going to be my mitre box, and that also has a 241.3 radius on it. And I've got a, you know, there's some more designing involved obviously for this mitre box. And yeah, but I think I can probably crack on with a few things, you know, like I think I'll put the holes in there now for the tuning pegs to go in. I still need to size the neck this way because it's way too thick, but the back is perfectly flat now, and square and all the rest of it. And yeah, you know, so there's other things that I've got to do, and I don't want to do anything in haste and then realise, oh, I should have left that until I'd done this thing, and if you know what I mean. Or do you? No. Anyway, let's get on with it. And a good way to test to see if your pillar drill is drilling square and 90 degrees is, I made this little thing away with me, and you put that in there, and you bring the table up, so it's just touching, and if it scrapes all the way around, then you know your table is square to the drill, which it is. That didn't look good. I think I've just blew it. So the first and second holes just didn't look right. They looked like they were too close together, but I thought maybe I'd just messed up on the measurements on those two. I actually have no idea why I didn't just stop then, but I didn't. So yeah, what an idiot. I thought I had messed up there, but I don't think I have. I thought the first and second hole were too close to each other, you know. And I think, but looking at all the rest, I don't think they are. It does look a tiny bit closer, like. But I can just fill it with a dowel, I suppose, if it's that wrong. Yep, they're all wrong. I I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm walking in this. Well, I managed to salvage this. The back doesn't look too bad, although it's not great neither, but the front looks a bit more like a patchwork quilt. But I haven't got any more of this wood, and it's kind of like a bit of an unusual kind of looking thing for a neck, you know, and that's why I like it, because I'm not really a big fan of usual, you know what I mean. But anyway, so even before I put the holes in this, right from the point when I cut it out originally, it was no good, you know. So even if I hadn't drilled the holes in it, it still would have been no good. What it was using the measurements, the shady measurements that I came up with for the guitar. When I measured the headstock, it was like unfeasibly like big, you know what I mean? I thought that can't be right, something's wrong somewhere. So I just like drew a aesthetically pleasing headstock, not thinking about anything, and evenly spaced the holes, and yeah, never measured anything really, or anything, you know. But anyway, I've salvaged it. It's, you know, character in it, that's what they say, right? And yeah, I'm gonna believe character for this. We are back in the game, so yeah. Oh yeah, and I finished my meta box now. So that's what it is. So this is my reference edge. So this is perfectly straight. So yeah, you put the fretboard in here like that, and you put your straight edge up against there, and these will push them. You can clamp them in like that, you know what I mean? But so the fretboard has little grooves in it already off the Stanley knife or the craft knife, and you can put this in here, put that on, hold it up against there, move that to where it's inside the groove, you can feel it there, you know. Tighten that up, take that out, and then you can sew your groove, you know. And as you can see here, like I was saying earlier, this fretboard needs to have a radius on it, and this thing has got a radius on it, and it's about round about 2.5 mil, I think, the depth there before the spine of the saw hits it, and you just saw down to where it stops, and then you've got a radius on your fretboard slot as well. And then you take that out and put it in your fret radius and jig, the sled, bed and thread thing that I mentioned earlier, and yeah, we're up and running, hopefully, fingers crossed. Upwards and onwards and tally-ho and all of that stuff. Thank you very much. Right, what we're doing then, Bon?
We're routing out the trash road
Channel.
channel.
Yeah.
We're routing out the trash road channel.
Right, yeah, that's it, that blue long thing there.
Yeah.
That's the truss rod.
I'll get it for you.
Right on. Right, we'll see how it goes.
Finally, that was too loud.
Oh, okay.
My eardrums there.
We'll have to get you some, yeah, muff there.
Ooh, can I try?
Yep, yeah.
Then
Just feel it gentle because it'll get stuck otherwise. Just feel it gentle and come back and go like that. Yep, I know that's one. What do you think, you're Speedy Gonzales or something? What do you think? Wow, Speedy can't really left some. Nah, that's not a good one. I'm on this side, I think.
yeah, there we go. I bet we can't get to 100 subscribers. Hey Dan,
What?
I was wondering, what are you gonna do for your next video?
I don't know. Another guitar, I think.
I've got a better idea than a guitar.
Oh yeah, well, how? What is it? Come on again, tell us.
I think you should make me a fake one of those things. You know, one of those things that you put under your, two of those things that you put under your arm.
Crutches.
Yeah.
Why do you want to make crutches? You've been asking us that for ages.
Get us to 500 likes and he'll do it. Get to 500 likes and he'll make me them. Isn't that true, Brown?
Yeah, that's true.
Get to 500 likes, guys. Okay.
Oh yeah? That's a magnet here, because it's very strong magnet.
I know it's my glue.
Watch, because it will nip your fingers. Right, so we're in and all snugged up, and it's flush, and I couldn't have asked for a better fit actually. I'm surprised myself. So yeah, so that's where we're at, and I'm excited. Okay, well, that feels kind of nice. So this line here on the original is either painted black. This whole bit is painted black. I'm not sure if it's like an extra piece of wood that's stuck on there, you know, and the sides is black and the back is black as well. But I've got a piece of ebony coming. What I'm gonna cut this off, and I'm gonna like sort of round over the edge, and then I'm gonna fashion a piece of ebony that shape, put it on and round over this edge as well, so that it's like kind of like this. And I think that'll look quite cool. The ebony came. I got 5 bits and I've already started. I was just checking to see if I could cut this, but everyone is out and I can't find any tracing paper. I'm not sure if we've even got any. So I had to use a piece of plastic. I don't know if you can see that there. And trace around this and then cut the piece of plastic out and then super glue it onto this. And you can just see the line there, and it's not as it's bone hard, this ebony, by the way. If it's even ebony, I don't, you know, I have no idea about that kind of thing, but it said it was ebony on Temu, and it came and it's real dark and it's dark inside, so I'm guessing it probably is ebony, you know. And it's real waxy. And it isn't actually too bad to cut, so hopefully we can, it will work it out, you know what I mean? So yeah, hopefully it'll sand as good as it cuts on the bandsaw. If you can see, I've used a white marker in that tiny little black line there. What you can see is what I need to sand off. Well, before I could go any further with the headstock, really, I needed to drill the holes for the tuners. So I just bit the bullet and went for it. I wasn't really sure how to go about this part. Use the table saw or the bandsaw, or just maybe use the rasp. But as you can see, I chose the table saw, and then I used the bandsaw after this, but I forgot to hit record, which is probably just as well because my blade wandered off and I screamed unmentionables at me bandsaw. And now I'm not really sure how to do this. Do I do it like this, you know what I mean, and move it along? Or do I do it like this? So well, all the footage for this part is really bad. It's just basically my back, and I might as well just get rid of it. I should have had a mask on, definitely. Well, apart from my almost definite death from emphysema or something like that, that's worked absolutely phenomenally brilliantly. Let me just see. But I've got a bit of a chip here, but because the fretboard is wider than it needs to be, I'll be taking that off anyway. And I did think that might be a problem, and that's half the reason why I left it big. But done in minutes. Oh, I'm so stoked about that, man. That's so good. So here I'm drilling the hole in the headstock, which will allow me access to the truss rod. So I put these little locator pins in here because when I put a bit of masking tape over there so no glue gets down inside that thing, and another little locator pin there, because when I put glue on this and then a fretboard on there, it's going to slide all over the place, I think. And so here I'm actually applying glue to the neck, and I forgot to tilt the camera down, so all of this is just a waste of time. I sometimes wonder, is YouTube really something that I want to do? Well, so here I'm using a spoke shave to take the majority of the overhang off the fretboard before putting it on the router table and finishing it off with a flush trim bit. So I bought 3 or 4 nut blanks off Temu, and I'm just filing the string slots into them using a nut file. Little homemade chisel. I'm not sure if I should be using a bit of super glue. I've seen them using super glue. I might just have a little bit read about that. Yeah, I think my safest bet is to use super glue. So I will. I've done the ones that I had already put in. I took them out and put super glue in them. So here I'm using a fret press on my pillar drill. I'm not actually sure if it's worth doing this because I've already glued the frets in, but I think I'm feeling a little bit of movement, so it might be worthwhile. So this is a fret file, and its objective is to put a crown on the frets after you've leveled them, which I did off camera. So the process is, after you've flattened all the frets and made them all level with each other, you now need to put the crown back on them. So you mark the tops of the frets with a black marker, or any colour really will do, and file away until all that's left of the marker is a thin black line down the centre of the fret. And by the way, this fret file has 3 different sizes for the various frets that are available to people, and in this case I'm using jumbo frets. So the thing I'm about to use here, there it is there, is called, I believe, a fret rocker, which is the same as me, actually, because I rock the occasional fret every now and then, because I'm insecure. But anyway, enough of my personal life. So what it does is it has 4 different sized flat surfaces, and you need to cover 3 frets at a time, and as the frets get smaller, that's what the 4 different sized flat surfaces are for. so that you're only ever covering 3 frets at a time, and it rocks on whatever high fret you have. So you can file a little more off the high frets as they come about. By the way, the fret file wasn't the best purchase I'd ever made. It was just a cheap one off Temu, and it's already starting to lose its bite. But I'm using stainless steel frets as well, so that probably won't help. But I might invest in a better one. Well, I'm real chuffed with that. Machines, they're awesome. I didn't fancy doing that by hand. So here you'll see I'm making a bit of ebony dust and applying a bit of super glue to the join where I needed to join the 2 pieces of ebony. There's no gap there actually, it's just a hairline, but this will make it disappear. So I'm I'm attempting to shape the neck, you know, with the Shinto rasp. And I don't know how to hold it, you know. I've put masking tape on this, so maybe I should have shaped the neck before I polished the frets at least, you know. But you know, I'm learning. I've never done this before. I've made a guitar body before, but this is my first neck, and yeah, it's tricky, you know, and I have no idea if it's going to intonate and be in tune, because you know, my measurements were as accurate as I could make them. But so I'll show you what I'm doing. I've got it in the vase, yeah. Well, that's going to work. I don't know if you can see it properly there.
Here you are. Can you turn that down? Can you turn the noise level that sandpaper is making down? Yeah.
What's that?
It says
2.0.
22.07, but it's constantly changing.
Yeah, but it's close enough for what we need. What's here?
I just wanna be part of the ceremony.
22.1. Oh, 21.
No, 21.67. I learned it at school. 21.67.
Righto, well. What's wrong with you, you little psychopath? Well, the next all but done, I think, maybe a little bit more tinkering here and there. We need to put the holes in at the bottom for what are you doing?
Being the crazy child I am.
Well, stop it. Right, anyway, so what do you reckon, Bob?
Let me hold it. Let me do an inspection. I'm the inspection person. And I'm giving it an inspection. Let's see.
Are you looking at it or the camera? What do you reckon? How does it feel?
I think... Well, you should take the tape off.
Yeah, well, I don't want to yet, so...
Okay. And I think it's good. But what do you guys think? Write it down in the comments.
So these tabs that I've left on here, I will obviously take them off eventually. But what I'm going to use them for is I'm going to put locator pins in there, or even screws. You can put screws in there, you know. So yeah, just in case you were wondering about these lumpy things, you know, I might leave them on actually because they're a bit crackers. Merry Christmas to me. It's gonna line up, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm now trying to line the bridge up, and how you do that is I've tied a bit of like fishing line, you know. I tied that to the first hole there, and then you thread this end through your bridge, apparently. And then tie it off to your top hole. Put the top nut in. So now you measure from the top nut to the center of the 12th fret, which is, it's 330.2. So the idea here is to measure from the center of the 12th fret, the same measurement again from the nut, which is 330.2. And then you have this bridge saddle here. You have that pushed as far forward as you can go, and you line that up with your mark. Because when you come to intonate it, it can only go backwards, you know what I mean? So you've got all that space there to pull it back to get good intonation. But yeah, upwards and onwards. So Here I'm using a self-centering drill bit so I can mark the position of the holes that will run from the front to the back through the body so the strings can pass through there. So here I'm using the shallow guide holes that I made with the self-centering drill bit to drill halfway through the thickness of the body using the pillar drill. So you'll see coming up that there's a freeze frame of a jig that I set up on the pillar drill. There it is. So the pin you can see in the middle of the MDF there is perfectly in line with the drill bit in the chuck of the pillar drill. So I can locate the holes that I just drilled halfway through the body on the pin in the MDF and then drill through the back to meet the hole and eliminate any chance of them wandering. That being said though, it's extremely difficult to see under there and actually locate the hole on the pin. I eventually set up a light which helped a little bit, but it was still super awkward. And I realised after I had finished, of course, that I could have taken the clamp off holding the body together and had the body in two halves, which would have been so much easier. God. What? There's got to be an easier way. You dafty. Both are in line. Oh, I've got a sweat on. So the ferrule is, can you see that there? It has a 8mm like head on it there, which is about 1mm deep. And then there's a 6mm shaft on it that tapers down at the bottom there. And the whole thing is 11mm deep. And because the jig is still set up on the pillar drill over there, I'll be able to locate the holes on the pin and because it's all still set up, you know, to the perpendicular to the dongle.
Haven't you people ever heard of a barber shop? Get a haircut, you scruffy cunt.
So what I'm trying to do here is find the last harmonic on the lower E string there. Oh well, it's actually a B string on this guitar, but directly below the last harmonic is where I should ideally place the bridge pickup. So after I had put the recesses in for the hollow body bit, you know, and Nick asked me if I could contour the back for, like, you know, a belly contour for his, you know, guitars have them, a contour. And I and I said I couldn't, but I think there's enough meat on the back to give me a little bit of one there. I've drew the line where I can go to, and I've drew a line here. It's going to be very slight, but it's going to have body contour. So shh, don't tell him. It isn't much of a contour, but, and I'll tell you what, this rasp, freaking weirdo, Jesus. Right, so I bought this. It's shielding paint, you know. It's to cut out any electrical interference inside of the guitar, you know, feedback and stuff like this. They do use this, and I bought this first, but then I heard that this was better. I think it was my son actually said that this was better. So you totally enclose, you know, those of you who've opened a guitar before will know that it's generally got this inside of the cavity where the electronics go. And you're supposed to enclose the whole cavity, and it keeps everything inside of there free from any kind of interference outside, electrical interference. But this has a sound hole, you know. This has the F holes in it. So I'm not sure how well it's going to work, you know. But anyway, because I want to paint the inside black anyway, because you can see the through the sound holes, I thought I might as well use this paint, you know. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do here. Okay, so I've probably got to give it another coat. I would definitely say I would, and I'm gonna see if I can paint inside of there. But yeah, another coat or two, and of course this side's glued on already, so I've got to paint inside of there because I'm an idiot. And I've got to leave a gap here because I have to glue this onto the edge of this, you know what I mean? This thing, yeah. So yeah. So I want to put a piece of plain black binding down the centre of the back of the guitar because the join is quite noticeable. So I'm just taking the back off a bit of double-sided tape here, and the jig that I made to inlay the truss rod will be ideal for to cut the recess for the binding. Right, so I just got through wiring this thing up, and I didn't bother recording it, you know, because it's boring and boring, and I want to take it next door and bring you guys along with me and And you know, it's gonna be like a viewer anticipation. I bring you guys along with me for the excitement of the unveiling of the. I don't know why you just don't tell the truth. Volume pots that you worn out. You did this about 17 times and failed every single time. You videoed it. You got sick video with it, so you stopped videoing it. What's that? What's that supposed to be? You're a liar. That's not true. Just shut your mouth, you're an idiot. Anyway, right, let's see if this works. Jack in the back. Like, so the pickups aren't screwed in, so the pickup was touching the. The tone doesn't work. Oh God. Right. Right. I shall not be defeated. Jesus H Christ, man, what the heck have I got to do here? Right. Everybody do this. Everybody who's watching, do this right now. Because every other time it's worked with the top off. And then I put the top on, and for one reason or another it doesn't work. But hopefully. We'll have a look at it. Well, that pickup definitely works. I'll try the middle. So these two have to work then. So them two work. And this is the bridge pickup, the neck pickup. And it does everything. Thank you for everyone doing that, mind. Right, I can glue this down now and finish the thing. As you can see from the previous attempts on the video, that the other guy, you know, him there, he wasn't exaggerating when he said I did this 17 times, and then there's the other 3 more attempts that I've videoed, thinking that it was good, and it just, you know. So yeah, I've got to thank a few people, you know. First of all, my son Nick, who's a legend, because he's done nothing but try to problem solve with me with everything, in fact, on this guitar. So Nick, I love you, you're awesome. And then my mate Steve, or Qantas we call him, because when he was a young'un he left Australia, where we are now, to come live in England, where I used to be, and he came on a Qantas airplane, and we called him Qantas forever, and I still do call him Qantas. And and he sat with me for 2 nights on video call, and he's a proper whiz-bang genius with electronics, you know. When he was a young'un, 14, he was making huge amplifiers and guitar pedals and all sorts of stuff, you know. And but because, you know, he's remotely trying to see the mess I've made, and the second time I rang him, I sat up until 1 o'clock in the morning, and basically he says, let's just start from the beginning and go through it. But unfortunately, I had to go to bed, you know, for work the next day. And so yeah, Steve, thank you for everything that you did. You're a true legend and a great human being. And then eventually I took this wiring diagram. Well, it's not the wiring diagram, it's the operation of the 3-way switch. And if it wasn't for Steve asking me to tell him what the configuration of the switch was, I would never have thought to look there, you know. So thanks for that as well. But anyway, I took this to work, and I literally sat in the back of the car, half the morning, and tried to come up with a way that I could make this switch and operate in the way that it should, with a single coil pickup in a humbucker. And you know, and I took this into the lunchroom eventually, where Zach walked past, and I asked him to have a look at this with me, and he also is exactly the same as me, knows nothing about electronics, but we bounced ideas off each other, and eventually we came up with this. And Zach did the cherry on the cake, you know. And so thanks to Zach as well, you're another legendary human being. And yeah, it's all glued up now, so there's no going back, you know what I mean? If it goes wrong now, it's firewood. So, yeah, there it is. So I've taken off the all the clamps, and I've taped the pickups in because I need to pop them in and out every now and then just to deal with this and that, and I don't want to screw them in. And I'm going to be routing out the recess for the binding that goes around the outside of the guitar, because all the sanding has kind of made that uneven. So yeah, that's what's happening here. So I'm going to put yous on fast forward. So the glue's obviously dried here, and I've taken the tape off and I've given it a quick sand and just rubbed a tiny bit of wax on there so you can see the grain and the binding. And the binding's like a mother of pearl, and there's a couple of spots that I'm not entirely happy with, but overall, yeah, it's pretty cool. So I put a little bit of wax on it and made it pop a bit better. And it's and while it's not perfect or in the middle, I would have liked for it to be a little bit further over this way. But you know what? Who's perfect? Certainly not me. So, by the way, you'll notice that there's a handful of nail holes still visible around the side of the guitar there. And I didn't want to cover them up or try and hide them in any way, because I want people to know that this was once a pallet. And if you notice, there's a couple of quite big knot holes there at the top of the guitar. And I also want to make them a feature. And I'll obviously seal them with something so that nothing gets inside of them or they don't like rot or something like that. But yeah, so if you're thinking about saying something negative about the knot holes and what have you, well, don't. Well, it's actually done it again. It's when the switch is in the back position for this pickup, it stopped working. It works in the middle position. Both pickups work in the middle position, and obviously the top pickup works. But when I have it in the bridge position, it stopped working. And I have no idea why. The only one thing that I can think of is when I was putting the wax on, the pickups were loose in there and I just had some tape on them. But at one point I didn't have the tape on and I turned it around and the pickup fell out and like hung on the wire, but it wasn't very severe, I don't think. You know, the drop was like small, and the fact that the pickup works in the middle position, I just have no idea. So although I said this was going to be firewood, I think what I'm going to do is cut an inspection panel in the back here with this little cutting disc on a Dremel type machine. It's not a Dremel actually, like, but you know, generically it's the same thing. And yeah, see if I can get inside of there and have a look. So I best put this on because my chest is dying. Right, I've got to think of a way how to get round the corner now. It's free everywhere else, but this is a bit wide. What I could do is probably grind that off and make that smaller, or I could grind a jigsaw blade down so that it's real thin, and kind of saw around the corner by hand. I think that would probably be the best option. There's the jigsaw blade that I ground down. So you can see it was like, what's that size? Crikey, it's gonna be a bit tricky. Oh, it's off. Right. I want to test it now because it all looks good, and the only thing that I can imagine it being was it was touching the thingy again. Right, big hole in the back now, and it's plugged in, so I can already tell you that pickup is working now with the switch in the back position. Both pickups are working. That pickup's that one. So everything is working now. So, and all as I've done is took that panel off the back. So that means that the switch was shorting out on the back of the panel because it's that close. You know, mistakes were made and lessons were learned, and I will not make a hollow body guitar this thin again, but I will definitely be making more guitars because I've loved the process and the nightmare headaches. But anyway, yeah, I'm still not sure what I'm going to do. I've thinned the piece of wood out so far that I even broke through at one point, so it's wafer thin already. So I'm not sure what I can do unless I thin it down everywhere, put some plastic on the top of it maybe. But then I don't know what I'm going to do. Right, I'm not sure if this is going to work. I put a bit of binding around that, and I drew around it, and then I put the thickness of another piece of tape, another piece of binding on it, and then I have stuck that picture, the drawing on there, and now I've got to sand to the line, but I've got to get rid of this middle bit first. So I think the best way to do it is kind of like just put around it like this. And then sand up to that line. So hopefully it'll work. I think I've only got that much binding. I'm sure I had 2 pieces. Oh, Jesus Christ, can anything else go wrong? Found it. I used this to draw around in the other room. Right, I've had a bit of a change of heart again. Wait, it's a forced change of heart. I don't have an option, you know. Like basically, why the guitar worked when the top was off, and then I tried it on through when the top was on, and it didn't work. Was the switch was shorting out on the shielding pin, you know, because it's conductive. And even though I took this down to, it's 1 millimeter thick in here, and I put varnish on top of that, which was supposed to be non-conductive, it broke through and shorted it out, you know. And the fact that this is 1 millimeter thick, the thinnest part there, isn't good anyway, you know. It's a liability. All he has to do is wear a belt buckle one day when he's playing it, and it's likely to pop through, so you know it isn't good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one out of this, which is the same wood as the guitar, is the same, off the same pallet, you know. And I'm going to make it bigger all the way around, and then it'll just sit on top of the hole of the access panel, and I'll keep it down with a couple of screws or whatever I can do. And it won't be as pretty or as streamlined, if you like, as that, but obviously I'll take it down to like as thin as I can, probably 3 or 4 mil, you know. And yeah, that's what we'll do. So Right, all peopleoids, that's that then. I hope you enjoyed it, and you got a bit of a laugh out of it from Bonnie and what have you, and you know, you've made an old tramp very happy. Tell your friends, and yeah, man, thanks so much for watching. Do all the good stuff, you know, subscribe and watch and comment and say hi and like and stuff, and yeah, that, because we need it, you know, we need this.